guys, this is Clay at Hit and Miss Gun Sports, and tonight I'm going to take apart my Benelli M2, kind of take the bolt apart and show people what the inertia system looks like inside. Probably everybody that has one of these knows all about it and everything, but maybe some people don't, and it might be interesting to them. So to start with, we'll remove the plug, and I do have a match saver on this. That's been pretty handy on a number of occasions for 3-gun. I have a bolt release extender put on here so it's a little easier to hit and find. I did have the bolt, if you can see this or not, had the bolt sent off to Searams in Missouri. He lightened it and did some mill work to the bottom of the bolt, and works really well. I've got a I forget where this bolt handle came from, but it may be Terran Tactical, I'm not sure. Anyway, so we'll just start. I've got a +9 Nordic Components mag tube on it. So we'll just unscrew this, and it's got a pretty long spring in it. And that's usually what happens. So there's the spring. We're going to lock it back right there. We're going to pull this off, pull that off. The bolt release just slides underneath the forearm stock here. I've cut a little notch in it. We'll lay that to the side. We can take the forearm off, lay that here. This is the Nordics Component one-piece +9 magazine tube. It's really well made and works really well. All right, I will say, just as a side note, and I did the same thing after reading a lot of things, that you can trim the magazine spring to make it a little bit easier to load, where it's not compressed as much. I have found from personal experience that's a bad idea, because when these long springs get weak relatively quicker than the shorter ones do, and at some point it's not going to have enough power, if you have a mag tube as long as this one, to fully throw the next shell back. And it happened to me in the middle of a match, and it would shoot the first 2 or 3 rounds, then it wouldn't shoot the rest. There wasn't enough. I trimmed it to where it sticks out of the mag tube. I trimmed it down to about 10 inches hanging out of the mag tube, and it needs it all. So it'll last better. It's not that much harder to load, and the pros that I've talked to said they don't even mess with trimming it, just stick one in it. So that's what I do now, and it works. So to go from there, we'll shut our bolt release, pull the handle out, slide the bolt out. The trigger mechanism in this, you just push a pin out and it comes out. There's really not much to it. I don't take it out all the time. If it's been really wet and muddy or dirty, then I will. But it's pretty well. It's made pretty well to run without doing a lot to it. All right, so the bolt here, I have I tend to put Slide Glide is a light tacky kind of grease on the rails of it, and I like it. It stays where you put it. I always have to wipe it off. It's never gone. Even use it on my AR. Works really well. It doesn't migrate or leak or anything. It stays right where you put it, so it's still there. All right. After that, we go back to this pin back here on the back, and I'll just lift up on it just a little bit. This releases the spring to the firing pin, and there's the firing pin and the firing pin spring right there. This top of the bolt has this. There we go. This piece here falls out, has a little line on it that helps you line it up just right. And if I can get a close-up of this, I'll pull this out, and then there's a spring, and it's pretty stiff, and that's all it is to it. Firing pin spring, retaining pin, and this is the bolt. and it's pretty well made. It's real smooth. It's got a good extractor on it, and you can really tell it's well made. They didn't there's no mill marks or any rough spots on it at all. I guess I've probably shot it, I don't know, probably 300 or 400 times since I cleaned it last, and it's not really dirty because there's no gas in it that comes back through all this. So it's mostly just like I was when I first lubed it up, put it together. But that's pretty much all it is to it, to take apart. It's real easy, and the spring, you just put it in there either direction. I've never had any problems with it. It shoots very light birdshot, slugs, buckshot. You can put them in any order in there, and it works really, really well. There's just not much to it, and it's a simple design that works really well. Some of the other things that I've done to it is this match saver. You can get it positioned just so that works for you. There's a little piece of Velcro in here that keeps it from sliding up and down, and it doesn't hit anything on the inside. You do have to drill a small hole here. Some people use PVC pipe. I just bought one and kind of smooth the edges over. So when if you run out of shells, you need one extra shell, you can reach around and put a finger in front and behind this shell and just slide it back to the open chamber and push it in, and then hit your bolt release all at the same time. And some guys get really, really fast at that. But it's not something that you probably want to depend on, but it's there. Some stages will actually stipulate that you cannot use, you have to load from the belt, and you can't use that. But it's really handy when you can. All right, so to put this back together, put the spring in, just drop it in there, put the bolt in there, turn it to the right position there. You can drop your, goes this way, that plug in there like that. Take your firing pin and spring and insert that through here. Take your firing pin retaining pin, if I don't shoot this across the room, just like that. Okay, so I found the firing pin and the spring, and push in on it. Take the firing pin retaining pin, place it in there. It just slides in, holds it together like that. That's that. Drop this back down into the grooves like so. Take your bolt handle, it does go a certain way, like that. Press that in. There we go. Take the barrel, put that back on the forearm, get it started back on the mag tube. Lock this back here. And close this almost all the way. Take your bolt release extension right there, put it right there, push it down right there. Take your mag tube spring. Thing is really long. Now, one thing I haven't talked about is with these extended mag tubes, they generally recommend that you put there's an additional clamp that you can get that clamps the barrel and the mag tube together. I used to use that all the time. It was kind of a pain to take off and clean and change the springs out and stuff, and I got to where I just didn't put it back on. It can make a difference where you clamp it and how hard you clamp it. If you clamp it on the end or you clamp it up here, can change where, if you're shooting slugs, the point of impact. So I started leaving it off, and for myself, for this, it seems to work better without one. It does help stabilize the mag tube, so it's not as much stress on it when you throw it in a barrel in a match. and you're whacking it and hitting it on things, it does help protect it. I don't throw the shotgun, across the room into the barrel. I do drop it in there. I've not had any problem. I did play around with changing the position of the clamp on the barrel and the tube, and sometimes I got it in the right spot, and then I couldn't remember where it should go. Usually right under this support is where I put it. That's why I put this sticker here to kind of protect it, because it clamps against it. So eventually I just left it off, and actually for me, I think I shoot slugs better without it. But anyway, that's the taking it apart, the M2, and it's my favorite. It's probably my favorite shotgun I've ever had, and it's got the comfort stock on it and all that. I do have this piece of vinyl, this gold colored vinyl on the back of the rib. It helps me, I think it helps me line up the front sight with the middle of this. It gives me a hard edge, so I know right where the back of it is. This black, everything's black, so this helps me distinguish between the ramped up part and the top of the rib. Gives me a little bit of color there, and it helps me keep the front sight in the middle of that and not off to one side. All right, so that's my little review of taking the M2 shotgun apart, and hope you enjoyed it. If you get a chance to shoot one of these, they're a lot of fun. It kicks a little bit, but boy, they run great. Thanks for watching.